So we know that we need to be purposeful about why we're assessing, how we're assessing, what we'll do with the results. But what's a way in which we can do that? What's a tool that we can use? So a tool I'm going to introduce you to today is called a test blueprint. It really helps you plan how you're going to assess. And it's going to pull in all of that prior knowledge you have about learning targets and depths of knowledge. A key phrase on here is common assessments work best within a collegial process. So you're here with teams together, working together to try to develop test items that are valid and reliable, that are going to assess what it is you're setting out to assess. It's tough to do this in a vacuum. It's tough to write assessments. And so by working together and creating a plan or a blueprint for assessment is really going to help you move in the right direction. With assessment, is it okay to use our professional judgment? Yes, it is, definitely. It's tough, but you are professionals and we trust you because you have expertise that you bring to the table. Is it tough to write assessments? Yes, but that gets better over time. As long as you continue to reflect on your practices and provide each other with feedback, you'll become more effective and efficient at writing your assessments. The question that always gets asked, how many questions per target do I write on an assessment? That's always the question that gets asked. So, if you're looking for reliability purposes, you want 3 items per target, 5 is better. However, you need to have the appropriate distribution of items over targets. So DOK levels 1 and 2 have more items, but fewer points than 3 and 5. Levels of complexity are appropriate for targets and instruction, so you need to make sure that you're making some alignment there. And also making sure that there's distribution of items over levels of complexity, that you're not asking all the lowest or the highest level. Can you imagine an assessment in which you have all level 4 questions on it? I had an assessment once like that in college in my pre-comps, 2 questions, 3 hours. That was appropriate for that type of setting. However, that was in a doctoral program. Not appropriate for our middle schoolers, definitely. That would be terrible to do to them. So you want to make sure that you are assessing the appropriate number of items and have a good distribution across your depths of knowledge. So there are 2 tools I'm going to share with you today. One is a basic blueprint, and another one is an intermediate blueprint. And you'll see the differences as we go through them. And so we're going to pass these out to you. Sorry, I should have been prepped. We'll go with the basic first. Thank you. And which one you use is really up to you. You're going to see the differences as we go through these. So I'm just going to show up here and you'll see a clear picture when you look at the one that is handed out to you. This is a basic testing blueprint. You are asked to identify the learning targets that you are assessing for this particular test, quiz, whatever type of assessment you're utilizing. So the first step is to identify those learning targets. And you need to somehow code them to make this a little bit easier to work with. So whatever codes you work with them, like 1.1.1, 1.1.2. Then it asks you to identify the depths of knowledge that are being asked for in each learning target. So for your questions, and I'll actually put this sample up here so it's a little bit easier to see. One side of your handout's blank, the other one has numbers filled in. So for the sample, target 1 says I have 3 recall questions for a total of 3 points. Target 1 has 2 level 2 questions for a total of 2 points. So for target 1, I'm asking 5 questions worth 5 points. Target 2 takes it a little bit further to say 1 recall question worth 1 point, 2 level 2 questions worth 2 points total. I have 2 level 3 questions worth 4 points total. So there is a shift between target 1, where you're looking at those lower levels, and target 2, where you're starting to tap into the higher levels, and it's worth more points. Okay. Target 3, 4, and 5 follow suit to where you see some of these targets are really gearing towards the 2 and the 3.
Where was it decided, or wherever, that level 2 are worth 2 points? Are they worth 1 point each? Or?
So in this example, a level 2 is worth 1 point each. So you have 2 questions, 1 point each, so a total of 2.
And then strategic are worth 2 points each.
Mm-hmm.
And level 4 are...
So that was a decision that was made by the team that created this testing blueprint. Mm-hmm. And this also looks at where your recall, your level 1, will be worth fewer points than your level 3 or 4 because of what you're asking them to do at those different levels. And then they total up at the bottom so that you can see across the board you have 6 level 1 questions, 10 level 2 questions, 4 level 3, for a total of 20 questions and 30 points. So here you're seeing a balance with your points as well as with your questions. You don't want to ask too many level 3 or 4 questions, but you've got enough in there worth enough points that you're going to get that information. So what I would like you to do at your tables, take a look at this basic blueprint. Think about how might you be able to use this as you plan for assessment. And have a conversation at your table about that. You'll notice at the top of that blueprint it also asks those questions. What is your purpose? How are you going to assess? How are you going to score? And what will you do with the results? So those considerations are at the top of that page for you. But for right now, how might you be able to use this to help you plan for assessment?